For lesson 2, we'll be looking at rates as comparisons. So let's start by thinking of a time when you had to compare two things in order to make a decision. What helped you to make that decision? When I read this, I think about being at the store and trying to find a better deal. And to do this, I have to figure out a way to compare the price, right? And the way that you actually usually do this is with division. So let's take a look at how we might do that down below in our first example. So if you're looking at pricing, this thing called the unit price can help us determine the better value for our money. A unit price is the unit rate when you have a rate that's dealing with prices. So a unit price is the amount or the cost for one item. That's what makes it a unit price. It's for one item. For example 1, a 12-pack of Orange Crush is priced at $3. A 6-pack is priced at $1.75. Which is the better deal? The problem here is that we know the cost for 12 and the cost for 6. There's no way to directly compare that without somehow simplifying the situation. And it turns out that because we have decimals, the easiest way to do this is just to simplify. And to simplify, we're going to use division, okay? So when I write a unit rate or a unit price, there's a couple of general rules that we like to use. So the first one, I'm going to just go down here where I wrote them, is that anytime you have money, it usually goes first in the division problem or first in the rate, meaning it would go on the top of the fraction. Anytime you see time, like hours, days, seconds, that goes second, meaning on the bottom of the fraction, bottom of the rate, okay? So up here, when we're talking about unit price, we always want to take the price and then put it over the number of items or the amount of time. In this case, the number of items. So the price is $3 and the number of items is 12. In the other situation, it's $1.75 for 6 items. So I'm putting the price on the top. Money goes first. Okay, now when I look at this, I'm not really sure I know how to simplify. And when you can't simplify the fraction, the next thing to do is use long division, okay? So in this case, and long division always will work for finding a unit rate or a unit price. So in this case, we're going to take the $3 and divide it by 12. So what that means is $3 divided by 12. Okay, now my next step is just to make sure I don't forget my decimal point, bring that straight up into your answer. And what this solution means is that the unit price is 25 cents per soda, because we're talking about cans of soda. So that's for the 12-pack. Now let's look at the 6-pack. So for the 6-pack, we have the 175 divided by the 6. Okay, we can go one more step. Add a 0, bring it down. 6 goes into 10 once. I'm going to stop here, bring my decimal point up. The reason I'm stopping is because when we talk about money, we only ever have the first 2 decimal places anyway, so we can just round this answer. So it comes out as 29 cents per soda. So when you're asked the question of which of these is the better deal, it's the one that costs less for one soda, meaning the 12-pack over here. And that's typical in real life, that the more items you buy in a pack, the cheaper each one actually is. For example 2, we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So Folgers coffee is priced at $12.88 for 80 cups of coffee, and Seattle's Best is priced at $9 for 50 cups. And then we have the Seattle's Best. Which brand of coffee is the better value? So I'm going to actually do a label. So I'm going to write Folgers. And then over here, I'm going to write Seattle so that I can keep track. And now I'm going to say the price first, because we always do the money first. I'm going to say $12.88 over 80, meaning $12.88 for 80 of them. And over here, it's going to be $9 for 50. Again, money goes first. So for both of these, what we need to do is the long division, which I'm not going to show on the video, but I will have the results there for you to see. Okay, so there's our long division results, and we want to compare these. Remember that money has to have 2 decimal places, so we're going to need to round these if they're not 2 decimal places. So for Folgers, we got 0.161, or an extra decimal place, right? So if we round that, it's just going to be 16 cents per cup, because that 1 at the end does not cause us to round up. And then for Seattle, we just got 0.18, so it's going to be 18 cents per cup. Now, when you're dealing with money, a better value means cheaper. It means that when you get it down to just one item, the cost is less. So less for one item. So the one that we are going to choose as our answer is the Folgers, because it's 2 cents cheaper per cup. For the next part of our lesson, we'll be talking about speed. And speed is another type of unit rate. So by finding the unit rate, we can compare the speed of objects. So for example, Hunter jogs 4 miles in 30 minutes. That's a rate right there. Ryan jogs 7 miles in 48 minutes. That's another rate. Who jogs the fastest? So I'm going to make my 2 entries, Hunter and Ryan, like we did above. And I'm going to write those as a rate. And I'll just draw your attention back to our little rule that we had here. Money goes first, time goes second. So in this case, I don't see money, but I do see time. So whenever we have time, that typically goes at the end of the rate as the second number or the bottom number. So for Hunter, it's going to be 4 over 30, because we want 4 miles, 30 minutes. For Ryan, do the same order, the 7 over the 48, because we want the minutes to be on the bottom, to be second. Okay, now if we want to see who's fastest, we can't just compare these directly. These are not very nice fractions. Even if we were to try to simplify them, it probably wouldn't work. So let's go ahead and continue with our long division method. It always will work, even when simplifying does not. So 4 divided by 30, that's going to look like 4 divided by 30. And remember, when you have a smaller number on the inside, you have to add your decimal point and your 0, and then add zeros as needed. And then we'll go through that one. So at the end of our long division problem, we got a repeating decimal. We know this because we kept seeing this 90 show up and the 3's up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write this as a repeating decimal. So it's going to be 0.13 line over the 3. Okay, now let's check out for Ryan. His setup's going to be 7 divided by 48. So again, even though it looks funny, we can fix that by putting the decimal point in the 0 and add zeros as needed. And our results for Ryan did not come out as a repeating decimal, but we're not actually going to finish it. So you can see that it's not done, and we need to continue this. But it doesn't really matter, because when I look at Hunter and I look at Ryan's answer, it seems like I can compare these, because if you look at the first digit, they're both a 1, but then the second one for Hunter is a 3, and the second one for Ryan is a 4. So that means that Ryan, who is running the 0.145 miles per minute, is going slightly faster than Hunter, who's running 0.13 miles per minute. So in this case, you want faster, so you want more miles per minute. So when we compare them, we need the higher number. So Ryan is slightly faster. For the last portion of the notes, we won't be showing the work during the video, but the answers will be here for you to see so that you can copy them down as additional examples. Okay, and that's the lesson for today. Just remember, money goes first, time goes second, and you'll always have an easy time writing rates.